to you about a topic that you probably hear a lot about, global warming. But more about that, I want to talk to you about a way that we can help the environment to slow down global warming in a sense. And I want to talk to you about recycling. So first I want to start with a statistic for you, and it is from the Paper Recycling Coalition. They say that for every ton of recovered paper that's converted to new recycled paper board, 3.6 million metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions are eliminated from the air, which that's the main part of global warming and some of the stuff that's bad for us and even bad for humans themselves. And I would like to start, I'd also like to show you a picture I have on my computer. It shows the Earth in 1978 and then in 2012. And you can see that in 1978, the Earth, or the United States is what we're looking at there, is more green than it is on the right side, which it could be for a lot of different factors depending on who thinks about it, but I think the main factor is global warming, and because we're not doing good for our environment. And us being the younger generation, we really need to better the environment or we won't have an Earth to live on for much longer. And so I think that I'm credible to do this because I've done quite a bit of research on the topic, and I've heard all the infomercials that they used to have. And so I think that we need to continue the green movement here in the United States to better the environment. So I want to talk to you about the effect that recycling and waste has on humans, what the effect that recycling waste has on the environment, and I also want to talk to you about what other countries are already doing or what they are going to start doing to already help recycling and help the environment as well. So humans, two main factors that recycling can help with humans is it gives them motivation, or there are factors that can motivate them. And along with that, it helps their health. So first, their motivation. And for that, I actually have a study that was done. And according to David Wu and his colleagues, in a study done by the University of British Columbia, a building designed and built to communicate an atmosphere of sustainability can influence waste disposal. And it also goes on to say that building atmospherics can motivate people to recycle more. But along with that, how I would feel is if I helped recycle, then I would feel motivated, like I helped the world a little bit, even a little bit, and it helps a lot. And along with that, that also helps our health, because a lot of what waste that we don't recycle goes to landfills or incineration, and that brings a lot of methane into the environment, which is also bad for us to breathe in. And so now, it's also bad for the environment, and that's what I want to talk about next. But mostly, I want to talk about two kinds of waste in the environment and how it can help. And those two kinds are solid waste and then plastic pollution, which is a whole different type of solid waste. So, I have a statistic about solid waste, and it's according to a researcher called Brittany Spargel. It states that if even half the people in the United States recycled regularly, greenhouse gas emissions would be reduced to the equivalent of taking 25 million cars off the road. And that's a really big thing to look at, because cars, are another one of those things that is emissions and one of the things that people are trying to do with hybrids and stuff. And to look at that compared to if we recycled that, we could do just as much as what that would do. It's an amazing statistic. And so that's just one of the things with solid waste that can help. But there's also a whole different category called plastic pollution. And if you ever saw, there's a Brita water filter commercial that you can see on the TV. And it talks about how we drink water from water bottles, and the water bottles waste could be wrapped around the earth 3 times. And that's another big statistic to look at, because that shows that we drink a lot and we waste a lot, just the water bottles, and what we can do to recycle them and reduce that. But along with that, there's also a statistic that was done at the Brigham Young University that states that Americans use 2.5 million plastic water bottles every hour, and most of them are thrown away, which backs up what I talked about us throwing away our water. And so the final thing I want to talk about is how other countries are recycling and helping the environment. But along with that, I want to talk about the other countries compared to the United States in their recycling rates. And that's what I want to talk about first. And so I looked upon a website called the Planet Aid, and it says that the U.S. recycling rate is 30%, while other countries such as Austria, South Korea, and Belgium have recycling rates of 63%, 43%, and 58% respectively, which means that we aren't doing as good as some other countries are, and we could really help with that. And then, I also want to talk about some European countries that are doing a lot for their environment, and also one Asian country. So the Asian country is China, and some of their fast food restaurants have started having biodegradable plates, so that when people get their food, they can eat the plates because they're made of corn, and if they don't want to, then they disintegrate in 4 days, which helps the environment because we don't have the waste of all the plastic and the paper. But along with that, I also found another study that was done by Gabriel Popescu and Isma Eisen with the University of Agricultural Science, and they stated that in several European countries, like Spain, Italy, France, and Denmark, the states offer economic incentives for car owners to recycle their older cars for newer ones in order to reduce air pollution and increase road safety. And that shows they're recycling their old cars. The worst cars was the worst gas mileage and gas emissions for the better cars, and that's another factor that shows a lot that cars are manufactured and they can be recycled for better things. And so, in conclusion, I think that we should start recycling for the environment because it could help humans, us humans in the long run, the environment in the long run, and because a lot of other countries are doing it also. And because I think that we should start recycling today. Even if you just do a little thing like start a little recycling thing, or something bigger like having a whole group do it. Because we are the next generation, and if we want to keep our Earth alive, then we really need to do something about it.